G'day and welcome to Aussie Beer Voyage. My name's Adsy, I'm going to be your host. Throughout this series, with my help and my mate Joel here behind the camera, we're going to go and we're going to interview different sort of breweries, owners, some industry reps, some bar owners and a whole bunch of other cool characters who are going to be fun to meet. Come along, enjoy it, take a ride with us. Our very first stop on Aussie Beer Voyage, Helios Brewing Company, which is located in the suburb of Yurongpilly, about 10 to 15 minutes south of the Brisbane CBD, depending on the traffic. This brewery is a special place, not only for local craft beer lovers, but for me personally. I was lucky enough to spend almost 2 years working here, but more importantly for me, it was alongside their head brewer at the time, Charlie Hodgson. While Charlie has now moved on to Woolgoolga Brewing in New South Wales, with Jake Harrison taking over the reins in here, I got in to chat with him before in his final weeks. There were so many good times that we had and a lot of great beers, but those are stories for another time. So anyway, Helios Brewing is named after the Greek sun god Helios. In Greek mythology, he was charged with dragging the sun across the sky for the mortals using 4 horse-drawn chariots. You'll find a distinct Greek theme throughout all the beers that the company produces, from their core range Poseidon Pale Ale, Hades Bitter Chocolate Stout and Cyclops IPA, to annual releases such as the mighty Kronos Stout range, Dionysus Double Nipah and the highly popular, and my personal favourite, Medusa Black IPA. The connection to the sun comes from the brewery's primary source of power, solar energy. The entire brewery was designed from the ground up by owner Scott Schomer to be as environmentally friendly as possible. With a range of cutting-edge environmental engineering, Helios was presented with the Lord Mayor's Business Award for Environmental Sustainability in 2021. He's just recently had a grant and has installed a prototype air conditioning system, which wasn't in when we had this chat, which was okay because it wasn't that hot anyway. The beers too have also claimed their fair share of awards, and I'm heading in to chat with the man behind the majority of those, my good mate, Charlie Hodgson. What's your brewing history?
It's fairly long. I've been around the traps a little bit. I'm one of the few guys that's probably sort of moving north for that 15 years plus in the industry now. So I started at wine. A lot of people might not know that I started at Horton Wines in WA in 2000 and spent 6 years in a big commercial winery. So that was
stories from wine, I'm sure.
Yeah, definitely lots of stories from wine. But yeah, I guess learnt my cellar trade there. Did a little bit of education, did a general certificate in brewing and packaging through the IBD while I was there, and then moved to Gage in 2006. So Gage Roads Brewing out towards Fremantle. Spent 5 or 6 years there. Moved up from an house brewer to I guess a team leader for the last few years, and then went to MASH in the Swan Valley in WA as well as a head brewer there. So spent another 5 or 6 years there, and then moved east to Helios. So I've been the head brewer here for about the same amount of time.
Yeah, nice. So when you win a big award, is there pressure personally for you to repeat the magic, or do you just take it as it comes?
Pressure, definitely. I haven't won anything decent for a while. I've won a handful of gold since I've been here, which cuts me up a little bit. But I guess when we had the success we had at MASH, we got used to it.
Yep. With what beer was that one?
Copycat. So we won a couple of nice trophies, so 2 or 3 trophies with that, and we won a couple of other trophies as well at Royal Sydney, and obviously a big one was at Aber. We won Champion Australian Beer there in 2014. So
yep.
Yeah, we won Champion Western Australian Brewery a couple of times at MASH as well. So yeah, definitely. I definitely feel the pressure to keep the success rate high. Yes. Yep. Personally.
Yeah, it's a good feeling, isn't it too?
Yeah. Well, it's not when you can't.
No.
Yeah. I think I've made as good a beers here as I did in WA, but obviously the market and the industry's changed a lot.
Yep.
In those last 5 or 6 years. So.
Yeah, cool. Do you think beer judging is helping to improve the beers that brewers are making, or does there need to be some more education around the judging process as well?
I think yes. I mean, obviously you need to know what's being conveyed back to you, and a lot of brewers obviously will know that as well. Some of it still, I feel, I've been judging for a while now as well at the state and national level, and I'm certainly not the best judge going around, but I can get through it. A lot of it still is interpretive, I think. You can send something you think nails a style category, and it can come back, not what you expected. So,
yep.
There's learnings to be had from there, and if you adjust based on one year's feedback and then you go to the next year's feedback, you'll get something completely different. So Yeah, I think it does. You know, certainly fault finding it can certainly help you with, and you go, oh, I didn't actually know that, or I might have been blind to that, or you know, you might get someone in on your tasting paddle, but
Taste it after the fact, and
yeah, absolutely go back and revisit it. So you know, the quality and calibre of judges that we've got across the country is fantastic. So I've been fortunate to judge with a lot of good people. What was the back end of that question?
does there need to be some more education around the judging process?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know how we do that, you know, whether that's an Indies thing. Indies have got a lot of really good things and a lot of really good initiatives going on, but you know, the style categories are now becoming so diverse. You know, there's, you know, a handful or more of pale ale categories, you know, that we're really splitting hairs now between, you know, a firmly hopped, well balanced, dry bit of beer, you know, with some nice malt in the middle. You know, there's actually loads of different categories there, you know, between, you know, classic Australian, modern Australian, New Zealand, New World, etc., etc. So I think, yes, probably.
I wonder if that's some of the things to do with why they require now on a lot of entries that the beer you enter has to be, that's what the label is and says as well, but it helps to cut out some of that chaff and segment.
I think that's a great idea, and you know, it's another one of those things that the Indies have brought on, and you know, I think it's going to be great for the industry. It's going to be great for the consumer as well. You know, I think it's really important to call a spade, and you know, we'll probably refer back to black IPAs. You know, with things being branded as a black IPA winning champion porter stout, and it's like, well, you know, what's the consumer? You know, what message?
What
do
they know?
Exactly.
And what do they want?
So
yeah, cool. With the public becoming more educated on faults in beer, and brewing terms used in the industry itself, does that make it harder to an extent to stand out?
I don't think so. You know, I think to me, standing out in the industry is more about brand awareness, marketing. You know, winning awards certainly helps, but I think there's a lot of breweries out there that are not winning a lot of awards that are wiping the floor with a lot of us
Kicking
as well.
goals,
So
anyway.
Absolutely. So. And fads, you know my views on brewing fads and what's up and about. You know, flavour of the month is huge. So you know, it's not my kettle of fish, but yeah, I don't know if that's answered your question or not, but
I think it does. Yeah.
This interview break brought to you by our friends at Convoy.
Alrighty guys, so today I just want to go through with you quickly a couple of kegs so that you use these kegs. A lot of home brewers will know what a lot of these kegs are, and then professional brewers will also know what these kegs are. Kegs range in different sizes. They're an awesome tool for storing beer. Normally the bigger is better, but that's not always the case. So for home brewing, this is a little 2 litre keg, which is amazing for test samples. You can also use it for cleaning water. So if you've got a homebrew keezer or something like that, you put your cleaning solution in here, and it's easily able to move through your keezer. So you can just plug it onto each different of your taps, run it through so that you can clean all your keezers and things like that, because there's only 2 litres of stuff in here and you don't have that much water running through your keezer system. Normally when you're a home brewer, when you start moving into what's called kegs, you get these things. So these is called a corny keg. I think it's because, don't quote me here, but I think the first company that made them was Cornelius. Don't know. A lot of people get these kegs from all over the place. So there's old Asahi style post-mix kegs and with all sorts of different fittings. Mine have ball lock fittings on these. These are 19 litres. And basically you can use these in your keezer. So a keezer is a keg freezer. Basically people get a chest freezer and they convert it with a temperature control module to only sit at about 2 degrees, maybe 1 degree, depending on their beer and their home system, whatever they've got, to be able to run beer throughout their system. So I've got an 8-tap keezer in my house and I've got 8 of these. I've actually got 12 of these kegs because I'm a home brewer. And then you move into the big boys. These are 50 litres. I've only got a 50 litre here, but in these ones, Marianne had a chat with me from Convoy, so they got 30 litres. This is what they use, and this is as big as you can get in professional brewing, because it all comes down to ease of use and also workplace health and safety. You need to be able to move these kegs. Basically what you do with these big kegs, they've got a cap on them normally, you hold it and you roll it around like that. But yeah, this is the sort of different types of keg systems that you use. You use this professionally. Some home brewers will have 50 litre kegs. They probably shouldn't, because they need to pay money for them and they've stolen them from the back of the pub, but if they've got them, they've got them. Corny kegs, you'll find these anywhere. Man, new ones can range from about 120
$150. Sometimes you can pick them up for $99 on special. Generally, you can pick them up second hand on Facebook Marketplace or Gumtree, something like that, anywhere from $50 a keg. What's a beer that you have always wanted to produce, but for some reason or another had never got around to throwing it in a tank?
There's probably not a lot.
You can say Adam beer.
Yeah. Had a good one just the other night, funnily enough. But there's probably been a few that I've made only once.
Yep.
And you know, this is 15 years, 10 odd years as a HB that I've never got around to revisiting. More so than stuff I haven't done. You know, certainly things I still like to do, but I think I've done a lot of what I'd like to do, to be honest. You know, porters, you know, I was a big porter brewer as a home brewer. You know, I've only made one commercial one.
Yep.
Schwarzbier that we've spoken about a bit at length. I made a really nice one at MASH, and you know, I've just never found room or the market
Smoked
to launch that back
Dunkel that you did a couple of years ago.
Yeah. With Stu's. Smoked, hazelnut smoked, or walnut. I think it was walnut smoked.
Yeah, I think it was walnut.
So yeah, that's I'd love to make commercially again.
Yep.
So yeah, but it's not the right market, unfortunately. So yeah, there are probably a few that I've made that I'd like to revisit for sure.
Yeah, cool. Alcohol itself has a flavour and sweetness that it gives to beer. How much does that impact a recipe when you're designing a new beer that you've never brewed before?
Not much, unless it's going to be big. Again, it's something we've talked about at length when you were here, and you know, it's taken me a little while. Generally, I'm pretty quick on the uptake. Sometimes I'm a little bit of a slow learner, but it's taken me a little while, and you know, through various iterations, I guess, of trying to clean up Zeus. You know, it still carried that sweetness and that sweet length. You know, I guess it shows a little bit of my technical lacking, but yeah, not really. Not unless it's something big. Not unless we're pushing them somewhere north of 7 or 8.
Yeah.
Well, I'll take it into account.
Yeah.
Firm up
I think I remember when we were brewing Cerberus, because we didn't want it to go over 7 because we didn't want it to be sweet. It was a dry red.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, cool.
And bitterness will need to be taken into account with that as well. Obviously, bringing that down to fit in that drier body.
Yep. Do you ever think we're going to get to a point in time with brewing beer that brewers run out of ideas or techniques, and they all start to just get into one another, like you were saying before about all the styles just getting separated, that's actually making it murkier rather than...
No, look, I don't think so. I mean, there's plenty of people out there that are very good at reinventing the wheel, and again, we're seeing, you know, an explosion in categories now. So, you know, but there's evolutions of stuff coming up all the time, and you know, I don't think so. You know, and if we do, it's probably going to be a little while away. To be honest. You know, we always talk about lagers coming back as being the next fad. You know, I've been hearing that for 8 or 10 years now, and it still hasn't happened. Every time I think I'm going to make one and get big on it, you know, they never come back. So, I don't think so. There's going to be people reinventing the wheel for a while. Considerable time frame, I think.
Yeah, cool. So some people might not know, but you're on your way out of actually leaving Helios, and probably by the time this gets released, you'll be down in Woolgoolga Brewing, down in just outside Coffs Harbour. What are you excited about most when starting working for a new brewery, and what are you most nervous about?
They might be one and the same. I guess going in, you know, I've got big history, big success behind me, so, you know, probably no different than the pressure I put on myself when I came here. You know, I expect a lot of myself. I expect to go in, hit the ground running. I expect to know how to run the kit very quickly, even though it's a kit I haven't obviously used before, and expect to make very clean, high-end beers, like straight up. And that's excitement and nerves. You know, that's what I expect to do. It's excitement and nervous whether I can actually execute it or not. But you know, I often joke, and you've probably heard it more than once at public speaking, and I often joke that it's one of the few good things, one of the few things I'm actually good at in life is designing and making beer. So and you also know that I'm quite good at design, you know, turning my misses into hits too. So you know, I'm excited about a lot of things. You know, Woolgoolga is still in their infancy. You know, they will have had their first birthday by the time this goes up as well. So, you know, I'm super excited. They've already got a beer coming out, or had a beer go out for that. So I guess nerves are just about, you know, failing on my level. I guess it's not meeting my own expectations of what I'm capable of.
Just personal on yourself. Yeah, cool.
But excited for a lot. It's a great opportunity. So sad to leave here, absolutely. But you know, I've got a lot of love for this place. And
You've obviously been brewing for a while now. What's something you've learned and adopted, or had to accept, that was different from what you were previously used to doing?
Lactose. Lactose, lower BUs. from guys like yourself and Reese, I've always spoken about not getting a lot out of whirlpool additions, liquoring down, actually cooling them down. I think a lot of people still actually whirlpool additions at that 100-degree mark, so learning that stuff from you guys. So, I guess some of it's probably just styles, raw materials, techniques, dry hopping, pre-post ferment. Something that we've taken on here as well. In the last 12 months. So I think I'm getting much better dry hopping success as far as freshness, vibrancy. And a little bit of design as well around structure and around for the modern market.
Yeah, cool.
This interview break brought to you by our friends at Bintani.
You do need to do a little bit of maintenance on these. So these kegs have got, that's the pressure release valve, right? These are your posts. So one of them is marked in and one of them is marked out. The out is where your beer comes out. In, that's where your beer goes, your gas goes in. So the gas goes in, pushes the beer down. So there's a dip tube, goes all the way down the bottom of this, and that pushes the beer up the dip tube and comes out of this post here. So release it, you flick that open, push that down, right? This is your keg lid. That's your empty keg. So that's how it works. It's pretty simple. It's not a lot of mucking around. You do need to be sure that you release the pressure before you open any keg. So that's, even with this, when you're cleaning kegs, it's normally a system that does it automatically. These ones, these smaller ones, they don't have that sort of luxury. You need to be able to do that. So this one, it's a little keg like that. This still can hold a lot of pressure. This is very important. So if you try and screw this off when it's holding a lot of pressure, this thing is going to be feeling like it's super tight, and you're going to pull it off. As soon as it's able to release pressure, it's going to poof and shoot off and shoot into your roof or something like that. You make sure you release the pressure first. Do not forget that step. Now, if you ever buy second-hand kegs, you're going to want to do a seal check. You're going to need to change these little things here. These are called O-rings. You want to change those. This is called a post. So within here, this post, there's going to be all sorts of more O-rings and other little bits of washers and things that you need to do. So there's a spring mechanism so that when you connect the post to it, the post pushes down and allows beer or gas to flow. Yeah, you can normally buy like a washer kit to replace all of those and get it all going again. These little ones, as you can see, the dip tube on this, it's flimsy, it's silicone, it's really, really good. But this is what you use when you want to do cleaning, or if you just wanted to go to a picnic, take 2 litres of beer to a mate's house. You can have 4 pints each. What a great little system. Gas goes in the side, beer comes out the top. Same on this one. There's an in, there's an out. It's just how it works on this one. So these big kegs, that's basically just a big post. You just push that in and the beer comes out. Gas and the couplers rather. We'll go through the different couplers in a second. So couplers, we've got post, gas and beer posts. On these, we've got different type of keg couplers. So there's A, D, S, G, M and U. They're all different shapes and sizes. Not all of them you're going to see or know. Generally in Australia, they're either A or S type. Sometimes you get Ds, but yeah, we'll go through that in a later video. Cheers, enjoy your kegs. What's a marketing term that you just despise having to put on your beer labels when they do fall into that category? I knew that was going to be the answer too. I had to ask. Is it just oat cream or is there a
milkshake, thick shake, donuts, any sort of Skittles, any sorts of raw materials that's really. Look, I think oat creams can, it's certainly something I'm dipping a toe in the water. I think made well, they've got a lot to offer. I don't do the novelty beer market well, and I don't think we need to be doing that as an industry for cheap sales, but I'm happy to argue or debate that with a lot of people. Yeah, I actually thought you were going to say DDH. Look, we were doing that in 2014 with Copycat. We just weren't smart enough to brand it. DDH, So, we've been and we did it out of necessity because we had to. We were scared of hot volcanoes. But, we were double dry hopping beers, 8 years ago. So, it's not new. It's just whether you're smart enough to be able to coin it. Good enough spin. And make your name on it. Yeah, cool. I do have a problem with it. Yeah, cool.
And so final question is, these are pretty, so this is Adsy's Fast 4-pack. So these are...
Better get a drink in.
Yeah. These are just quick little questions. You should be able to answer them quite easily. What's the best beer you've drunk so far in the past year?
I should be able to answer it quite quickly.
Yeah.
I'm going to say the recent batch of Cyclops.
Oh yeah?
Yep.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, it's
Probably
good
going to
beer.
put up there at a quick, so ours. One
Yep.
of ours. Yep.
Yeah, cool. What's a hop that you just love to use?
I love old school US stuff,
Yep.
you know, and I'm sort of going back to a lot of that, but Amarillos and Cascades. Amarillo we use a shit ton, so that's one of my favourites to build beers around.
100% thought you were going to say Sriracha Ace.
Yeah, I'm pinch hitting with that a bit, but yeah,
Yeah.
Amarillo we use a ton of, and
Yeah.
I'll continue
Yep.
to use probably a ton of it.
Yep. Yeah, it's good hop, mate. What malt do you like to include in most of your beers?
These days again, I can't probably narrow it down to one, but those lighter crystals, you know, Cara Reds,
Yep.
you know, those sort of 20 to 40, 60 to 80 EBCs,
Yep.
Vienna's, Munich's,
Yeah.
they're just,
Yeah,
probably
cool.
those lighter toasted malts.
Yeah, nice. Sweet. And is there a beer style that defines you as a brewer that's your go-to favourite?
It's probably most things hop driven. I
Yep.
still think IPAs, you know, I guess I made my reputation. It's a long way behind me now, but, or in my eyes anyway, but yeah, I guess probably IPAs.
Yeah.
We've got a pretty good, I dig them.
Yeah.
Go to them any day of the week. If I go to a bar, that's what I'm going to grab straight up.
Yep. Yeah, look on the menu for them.
Yep.
Yeah, sweet. Mate, that's it.
All right,
mate,
fantastic.
thank you very much for the chat.
Cheers,
And
man.
yeah, cheers.
See ya, as always.
As you know, just spoke about it. Charlie's leaving Helios. He'll be down at Woolgoolga Brewing Co. Just outside of Coffs Harbour. Is the town called Whoopi?
Town's called Woolgoolga.
Woolgoolga.
Was referred to as Whoop Whoop, so that's where Whoopi's come
Oh,
from.
okay. Yeah, sweet as. So by the time this has come out, that's where he's going to be. So you can decide if you want to go to make the trek down there, or if you're down in that area already, drop in and say good day to Charlie. Cheers. Well, that's one voyage down, and there's heaps to go. Obviously, there's plenty more breweries, there's plenty more people to chat to, and there's going to be some great more beers to drink. So if you enjoyed this voyage, come along. Aussie Beer Voyage. We're going to check out some others. Cheers.